Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi guys.
And like always, I'll tell you guys, if you're trolls amongst you, I advise please leave this room at once.
Now. Especially you, stupid. Get out of here. Yeah?
Yes, I mean the person in this room must leave now.
I'm waiting. Leave. Or turn down. Or go and log into something else, that you really want to listen to. Yeah? Go away.
Go to a different channel. And,
right.
Bug them.
Go watch something else. Okay.
All right.
Or listen to somebody else.
Moving on.
Moving right along. Okay.
So tonight we're reviewing. Let me see. This interesting, awesome movie that's called Dracula Rising that was released in 1993.
It's a horror romance. Now, the reason why we're doing this one is not necessarily because it's the best movie in the world, but because Roger Corman was the producer.
Yeah. You guys may have heard me mention that when we reviewed Not of the Surf movie with Michael York in it, and how it referenced this movie. And then I found out much later, just last night, that dear old Roger Corman produced this one.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, exactly
so
right.
So it fits in, because sometimes when you look at films, they would often, the director or the producer of that said film would often include another previous work they did together in this one.
Now, actually, before we get on talking too much about the movie, one of the things I like about Roger Corman when I first started getting into his movies was he used to do those old period horrors, using Vincent Price and other people, and bringing Edgar Allan Poe to life. Pardon the pun, on screen. And Vincent did some good roles. But anyway, Roger Corman, to me, excelled in that genre, the Victorian tales of terror sort of movies. Yeah. Now, when he changed to doing modern movies to suit the teenagers, which are Dr. Goldfoot and the Invisible Bikinis, that sort of stuff. Was that what it is? I think Dr. Goldfoot?
I don't know.
Well, anyway, those sort of teenage sort of movies, I think he lost something in the transition. Now, this movie is not the Victorian tales of terror movie.
Per se.
But it has elements, being a Dracula thing, it has flashbacks to the past, but it's done in the present. Yeah. And I don't think it's lost too much from his old style, which I love a lot.
And I'm going to butt in here.
Yeah, carry on.
It's filmed on location in Romania.
No, not Romania. Bulgaria.
Bulgaria.
Same general area
somewhere
over there.
Around near Romania area.
Yeah, those areas. It had a good feel. The landscape, the old monastery they used. Probably some of the locals in the background, the train station. It was all local stuff, so had this feeling of being in Europe, which is it's great when they can do it. Actually, you said Elvira did that movie.
Somewhere.
What's it called?
Haunted Hills. Haunted Hills.
Yeah, that was done overseas somewhere in whatever country too. Yeah. So it's good when you actually your budget can stretch to take your people to a location and get that atmosphere, ambience, whatever you want to call it, and get that feel happening instead of saying, "Oh, this is done in California. There's a palm tree." No, it's actually done in Europe, which is good.
So moving on, who directs it, writes and stars in this, Mike?
All the good bits. I like the technical stuff. Now, like I said before, it was produced by Roger Corman. Yay! Co-produced by Mary Ann Fisher. Yeah, whoever she is. And associate producer was Stephen Rabiner, I think. Rabiner? Rabiner. Directed by Fred Gallo, Gallo. Now, written by Rodman Flender, I believe, and Daniela Purcell. Filming location, they said, was in Bulgaria, and it felt good. I don't know if the early bits there in the art museum were done in Bulgaria as well. Probably were, I'd say. I think it did all in one area. But anyway, irrespective, we believe it was all done in Bulgaria. Now, actors. There's a few actors, but the main ones are just the three. We have Christopher Atkins plays, believe it or not, Vlad. And he's been in Blue Lagoon and some other movies, and I think he's transitioned from those sort of that teenagey sort of stuff into adult movies has worked quite well for him.
Yeah.
Stacey Travis plays Teresa, the love interest. Good-looking lady, not a bad actress.
Agreed.
And Doug Wirt plays Alec.
Don't go there.
He's a
Just
naughty
yet.
guy. How's that?
Yeah.
He's always, even when he was not a vampire, he wasn't really good.
Yeah.
And then became a vampire, he became really sleazy.
Yeah, and the wonderful thing about this movie is we often talk about how one movie can center around one sort of location,
Exactly.
Yeah. So this is
and
one
most-
of those movies.
And most of it centered around this monastery, which is great. Keep it nice and contained. And then probably the hills surrounding the monastery were used and whatever. So I didn't see the food van anywhere.
True.
Sorry.
Yes. So anyway, do you want me to start telling the plot?
Well, yeah. I can't think of anything I want to say before you break into it.
Yes, I suppose so.
No, take it away, Sarah.
So the story opens. The credits roll, and the music, it really puts me off a little bit.
We could talk about it later, but we might as well mention now so you raise it. We don't think was it only the opening music?
It's the opening, and it does make a bit of a, say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes into the movie. You hear it again, and then you wait to the end of the credits, you hear the same music again.
And we don't think it actually suited the tone of the movie.
It felt like 1950s or 1960s
but
music.
didn't come over sinister or moody or anything.
It's just like the music your grandparents would listen to on the radio.
And more like a pop tune.
Exactly.
A love song was it? It just didn't fit.
Yeah,
but anyway, that was probably our only thing. But we could have talked about that later. But
I think I read somewhere that Roger Corman knew the composer for this, and he said, "Put this music in there because we think it might be good." But then, I think this might have been the one reason why so many people probably turn a blind ear to this movie.
I like that, blind ear.
Well, that's how I see it. I mean, we talk about plots, and we talk about stories, and we talk about the character development.
We often skip over the music side. The music's a very important thing in a movie. It creates a feeling, whether it's passion,
this is
horror.
If you have a good plot, a good character development, and you have good music, then the whole movie is all connected.
The whole ball of wax comes together nicely, but you lose one element, or it's not really strong enough, it can affect the rest of it. But,
exactly.
Yeah, and the soundtrack, the opening credits soundtrack, and that was used a couple of times through the movie, didn't work. But forgetting that.
Okay, moving on.
Yes, I think the other bits held up quite well.
So moving on, after the credits finish, we then open in on a art gallery opening where they were viewing some new art pieces by this girl named Teresa.
Yeah, she's an artist and restorer, isn't she?
Yeah, sort of an what do they call it?
A restoration person.
Right,
But she's I think she's an artist herself.
Yes, she is.
Yeah, but she's also a restorer.
Yes. So she gets praise for her hard work, and she hopes to go to Europe to maybe do restoring some great artworks in Europe.
Where he comes from.
Yes. While she's making this awesome speech, she then is noticed by Vlad, he's I won't say what he is, but he's eyeing her in the most.
He's attracted to her in a sexual way.
Yeah, and while the art gallery owner is prowling and trying to,
he's trying to
make his
really
mark
badly.
by trying to pursue her, Vlad steps in and tells him to back off in a nice way as possible.
Yeah, in a nice assertive way.
Yes.
But nice.
Yeah, and Teresa feels this kind of connection between her and Vlad.
Yeah, like I've known you before somewhere, sort of thing.
Yeah, and she then tells him, apart from being an artist and a restorer, she also works with the homeless.
Yeah, down some sort of soup kitchen or place where they feed the poor. Yeah.
We get a few flashbacks hinting that there's probably a past life thing going here.
Well, it is. It's all centered around a past life. there's a connection between Vlad and her, but she doesn't know about it. But
Yeah.
Vlad's been hanging around for 500 years waiting for her to come back.
Yeah. Later on, we get one of her friend takes a photo of them dancing. There's a bit of dancing in this gallery,
Well, yeah, a bit
art
of
gallery
music,
thing.
yeah.
Even though I go to a lot of art gallery showings, and we never danced.
No, we look at the pretty pictures,
see the
have a
pretty
glass
pictures,
of wine,
we
and nibbly,
talk,
a canapé or two, and go home.
We talk and then usually head home and all that. Anyway, her friend takes a picture, and we only see Teresa in the picture.
Yeah, I see Teresa dancing by herself.
Yeah, and later that night, or I think she is dreaming about Vlad, and it's
getting flashbacks to the past, is she?
flashbacks to the past a little bit,
bit.
but it's still very faint.
Yeah,
as we
dreamy
see.
sort of stuff.
Yeah. So anyway, she then eventually gets an invitation to go off to Romania or Bulgaria, as we said.
Bulgaria, not Romania. Bulgaria's near that area.
Yeah. So she's allowed to do this commission for a monastery of sorts.
It's a monastery, yeah. It's an old
So-
monastery where the monks or whatever they were used to live. Yeah.
Yeah. So she's offered a commission, and she packs up her bags and heads down there. Or up there, I'm not sure.
She flew over to Bulgaria.
Yeah. Yeah, anyway, she soon arrives. The taxi driver, is skittish about driving her directly to the monastery, like in a lot of these movies often are.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he allows her to walk a certain distance to it, and she meets Alec, the guy who contacted her. And he shows her a painting of a warlord or something.
Yeah. A bit like, remember old Vlad the Impaler, Vlad
Yes.
Tepes? I suppose it's referring back to him. And and obviously there's no mention of his names. He's Count Dracula or Vlad Tepes, but we think it's because Christopher Atkins is he's called Vlad. Maybe could be named after his dad. Yeah.
So anyway, Alec welcomes Teresa into the monastery with open arms, just a handshake.
A handshake. Very friendly, welcoming.
Yeah, and he offers her the opportunity to stay at the monastery, but Vlad steps in and says no, she'll stay at the inn not too far from
It's not
this.
very nice here.
Yes. Well, not in those terms.
I want the drink of blood. No, you don't.
Shut
No,
up.
sorry.
So anyway, she heads down to the inn. I don't know how she gets a taxi, considering that they can't.
They would
don't
have had
go-
mobile phones or a telephone line.
No, they
possibly,
might have.
Yes.
But you
It
know,
was 1993.
I know that, Mike. It's just that no one felt comfortable going near the monastery. So
Well, no, for the first taxi drive didn't go anywhere near it.
so-
Bottom of the hill, hump your own bags up there. You're not going anywhere near it. But somebody else might have met her at the bottom of the hill.
maybe true.
Don't know.
So she arrives at the motel that she's escorted to her room, and there waiting for her is none other than Vlad, who tells her that not to take the commission and should go away.
home. It is not safe here.
Yeah, and she still feels like she wants to be there, and she wants to get to know him better.
He looks. Well, she thinks he's hot. He's not a bad-looking fellow.
Yeah. Despite the people in the reviews, they should just overlook his past, the actor. A Blue Lagoon, goodness
Well,
sakes.
Blue Lagoon to me was not a great movie, but people got to start somewhere in the industry, so
Exactly so.
get over it, people.
Yeah, and an actor can improve with practice.
Well, he's a kid. He's a
Yes.
teenager or something rather. I don't know what his acting skills were like, or his training, but it's his first movie probably. So, hello, don't expect miracles.
Yes. So anyway, he returns to the monastery. Oh no, actually, before he returns to the monastery, he bites a servant in the motel and drinks her blood.
Well, it was a motel.
Yeah.
You go there for food.
And this scene was seen in the Not of the Surf. In the movie.
We watched that movie. We watched that movie and reviewed it. And in the background TV, you had this movie playing. Yeah.
Yes, that very scene.
Aha.
Yes. So moving on, he goes back to the monastery and he confronts Alec and says, "Why are you doing this? Why did you bring her here?" And Alec says, "I want to play the game."
And I bought it here for you.
Yes, I don't believe that it's. Or that he just wants her to and Alec and Vlad to be happy and together, all that stuff.
I'll explain something here. because obviously Sarah's going to mention it. Vlad and Teresa were an item 500 years ago, and when something happened to her, Sarah can tell a story in a minute. But he's been waiting for her to come back, and she's finally come back. So Alec has brought her back from America or wherever she's supposed to be based to come to the monastery, so Vlad can turn her into a vampire and make him happy because he'll have his girlfriend forever and ever and ever. And that's that. But Alex said, "Well, if you don't take her, I'll take her." You know, that's. But he's not a terribly nice guy, Alec. Yeah,
no, he's
naughty.
not nice.
Yeah.
So anyway, the next morning, I think, Teresa next arrives at the monastery and starts the reconstructing of the painting of sorts.
Yeah,
And
she's quite good at it.
Yeah, and while she's constructing it, she starts having flashbacks to the past. So I'll give you a bit of a brief on her flashback. Obviously, she was a peasant woman or girl, and there
Single, attractive.
yes, and this was during a plague or sorts.
Or famine,
A
plague,
famine,
whatever.
plague,
So
or whatever.
They we weren't having a great time of it.
Yeah, so she takes upon herself and she to find some food in the monastery. Of course, Alec offers her, say, 3 or 4 loaves, but that's not enough to feed
the village? So she goes up there and has a word to Vlad, and he gets her in there, and she gets another several loaves of bread and a few things. Yeah, which is nice.
Yes. Yeah, and he hides her and takes her into the catacombs. That's like
To secret way out as well.
To secret her away.
Yeah, he took her. There's another entrance to the monastery through the catacombs, so quite easy. Get out, and so
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, they then have a secret relationship with each other. He starts tutoring her in a bit of, the Bible and stuff like that.
as a religious man would.
Yes, and Alec finds out about it, and he thinks that Vlad's intentions are not
He's
godly.
having an unholy relationship with this woman.
Yes.
He will burn in hell if he blah
and
blah blah.
he even reveals to Teresa that Vlad was the birth son of Vlad the Impaler.
So he's trying to protect him from himself. Do you want to be evil like your father?
Yeah. So Alec takes him aside and whips him in the background.
Yeah. If we whips him with a rope,
Yeah.
It looked pretty good. I think the special effects on his back look pretty bad. No, good, bad. You know what I mean? Really good because his back looked bad. Yeah.
We then flash forward to the present again, and Teresa decides to check out the monastery bit by bit, and she finds the kitchen, which looks just the same from her dream. And she then finds somewhere in the monastery, sort of a painting of her of the
Teresa.
Yeah.
But in 500 years ago.
Yes.
Teresa.
And Alec is up behind her, and she asks, "Who are you guys?" And he says, "You know what we are." And he does something that I think is not really funny, but really weird.
It is funny.
He just says, "Boo!"
Loudly, and scares her.
Yeah, and she faints, I think.
He does. He passes out.
Yeah, and the next thing we know is that she's lying on a bed, and she's dressed in new garments or something. I don't know.
Or old garments or whatever. She's dressed differently.
Yes, and
Alex said, "I'm preparing her."
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, to Vlad and all that stuff.
Take her. She's yours.
Yes, of course. While this is happening, we flash back again to the past, and this time we see Teresa at her mother's grave, pleading that she's in love with a monk, and he's in love with her, and that it's a forbidden relationship.
Yeah.
Fortunately,
I don't know why. They do it nowadays, and they quit the monkhood or the priesthood or the brotherhood and get married.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway, he appears behind her, and they have a brief sexual scene in between them two. And I think it's tasteful, the scene.
Was that the swimming bit?
Yeah, and a bit of
Very nice.
near a waterfall, which I think was kind of really interesting.
Actually, I must say something. The guy who did the camera work on that scene, when they were naked in the water, would have had a hard time trying to make sure he didn't get too much footage because obviously even in those days when they made this movie, you'd say, well, okay, censorship laws aren't quite so rigid, but it wasn't about the sex, it wasn't about the naked bodies, it was about love. And
so in this movie, it was tasteful.
Tasteful, yeah, exactly right. It wasn't slutty and sleazy and stuff. No. Yeah.
So anyway, moving on. He returns to the monastery. I don't know if guys develop a blossoming feeling. Like they often talk about girls when they first time do it.
You get a welling up inside you of a feeling and stuff, and he was getting this
welling up feeling, whatever.
I'm falling in love with this woman, and I'm a monk, and he wasn't quite sure of himself either.
Yeah, and of course Alex reminds him that to love God is a perfect love between man and his servant, but loving a woman is considered a sin or something for a monk.
Yeah. Well, for a monk, yeah.
But unfortunately, dear old Vlad doesn't see it that way. He says that God has given him the best gift of all.
Yeah, which is love of a woman. So the point, the problem with Vlad, though, Vlad didn't join the monks. He was dumped there as a child to get away from his father, so he actually grew up in the monastery.
Yeah.
So he didn't know any other way. He didn't have a choice in the matter.
Exactly so.
Yeah.
So, he may, I don't know what's going to happen next, but he may decide to run away with her and get married, maybe. I don't know how it works. If you are a monk back then, would you be castrated, or would you, or
you wouldn't have been castrated,
or would you be? Would they continue punishing him for his?
Well, no, if he left the monkhood, they wouldn't know where he was. A monkhood, whatever you call it. Yeah. They wouldn't know where he was. He could have gone to a little country town, got a job as a farmer or something or other.
I don't know.
Yeah. Something.
Anyway, so we flash back to the present again, and we know, and Alec was gonna, Vlad kind of painted with his own blood a cross on Teresa's neck.
Yes.
So Alec and Vlad could not touch her.
Yeah.
But fortunately, she wakes up and she tries to get out through the catacombs like her old self did. But unfortunately, Alec starts stalking her.
And there's another vampire too. A girl one.
Yeah,
I think. It obviously had been turned by
Alec
or somebody. Yeah.
Yeah, who knows how many may have been down there? Who knows?
Well, no, I only saw one, but yeah.
Anyway, they play hide and seek in the creepiest way.
Alec knows his way around down there. He lives there. Yeah.
And there's some interesting lighting. There was a lot of bright reds and blues and yellows and orange.
When I saw this the first time, and I've seen it several times, in a lot of European movies, they use a lot of lighting, your background lighting, like you might have some red coming out of a corner or a doorway, or some green or something, and they use that sort of lighting in this. And when I first saw it, without paying attention to the credits, I thought this was a European-made movie made by somebody else. I didn't know it was a Roger Corman production. But it had that European style to it.
True. So anyway, she eventually gets out of the catacombs and finds abandoned taxi where one of the guys was probably, the taxi driver was bitten and killed.
He was lying there behind the taxi. He's dead. Yeah. So she would have had to walk past him to get into the taxi.
She soon gets inside the taxi and she tries to drive away. And after a few turns and stuff, and noticing some weird images.
Yeah, vampires were appearing. Alec, I think mainly, was appearing in front of the car or on the side of the road.
Well, I think it was Vlad.
Alec or Vlad?
No, Vlad. I think Vlad noticed that she was gone, and I think he wants to let her know the truth about what's happening. And leaving the monastery is not without knowing the whole story is the best way to go.
But anyway, she keeps and then she got shocked and scared, and then she drove the car off the side of a hill and rolled the car, and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and the car's catching on fire a bit.
There's another flashback.
Yeah, we get a flashback to when Teresa is just painting on the hill. The painting I mentioned, that she was painting a self-portrait of herself.
Yeah, 500 years ago.
Yeah, and Alec and a few of the village people, not related to the band, not related to the band, guys. Right. So they come there and accuse her of being a witch and the cause of the plague, yada yada yada.
Yeah, this Alec guy was really nasty.
Yeah. They take her to they tie her to to a tree, and they slowly burn her alive.
Oh, yeah.
And
Not invited to the barbecue.
yeah, and Vlad appears, and he tries to stop them, but
Too late.
yeah, and she slowly, as she burns, whispers, "Or
I love you."
Yes, it was romantic.
Anyway, as the fire dies down and Vlad's left there reflecting on what just happened, he decides to leave the monkhood.
Yeah, flash forward again. We see Vlad has retrieved Teresa from
The burning wreck.
And he slowly whispers to her, "Listen to your dreams, Teresa, because then you will understand what's happened and may forgive me for what I've done or did."
Yeah.
So-
Dream a little dream of me. Sorry.
So we flash back again to Vlad seeing his father.
He went back to the old family home.
Yeah.
He heard rumours that Dad was alive.
Yeah, whatever.
But Dad was not alive. He's dead. He's the undead.
Yes, he's very creepy looking. He's wearing this weird mask.
Yeah, weird mask.
Yeah.
He wasn't a good looking man anyway, but
Doesn't matter. Anyway, it doesn't matter because I think that more or less that his voice was creepy, and I think maybe, just maybe, it was not necessarily the actor's real voice.
No, it might have been.
My theory. It's just a theory, guys.
It probably was. But anyway.
Anyway, moving on. So he offers him the choice of becoming immortal, and
So he could wait for Teresa to come back to him.
Yeah. And of course, Vlad accepts, and as he accepts Daddy Dearest's offer,
So Dad gives him a love bite.
yes, gives him blood in return, and he turns into what he was.
Son of the father. Sorry.
So Vlad and Vlad the Impaler, they go back to the monastery, and as you expect, Vlad is hungry.
He's getting the urge to
Yes.
drink.
Yeah. And the first victim he comes across was Alec, no less.
Yeah, now that's the one thing that bugs me about the movie.
What's that?
All right. He hated Alex.
Yeah.
He bit him. Had
Yes.
a bit of feed. But everyone they eat or bite, drink from, doesn't turn.
That's true.
So why did he turn him into a vampire?
Bear in mind, it was Vlad the Impaler that turned
That's right.
him.
Dad came along and gave
See,
him some blood.
after
That's right.
Vlad
Yeah.
drank all
Sorry,
Alex's
I've
blood,
been checked by Sarah. Yeah.
after Vlad drank all of Alex's blood, he turns to his
all.
father and says, "What have I become?" And he just
He left
heads
the room.
off.
And Dad gave Alex some blood to turn him into a vampire.
Yes.
Aha.
Aha. So-
Because Alec wasn't totally. He'd just been totally.
a total dick.
What's the word when you pass out? He went into a swoon, bit of lack of blood, whatever.
Yeah.
But he wasn't quite dead.
Yeah, so back to the present now. Now that we've filled in all the gaps of the past,
So Alec,
and Teresa realizes the ultimate truth, she then heads back to the motel, packs her things, and is about to leave on the first train back to wherever she came from.
now I want to stop you for a minute.
Okay.
Now this monastery would have had probably dozen monks, 20 monks there. There's only 2 left. Alec and Vlad. It doesn't come up in the story. I reckon Alec killed all the other monks.
I think
I
both.
don't think Vlad did.
I think it was both Alec and probably Vlad the Impaler that killed them all.
Vlad's dad. Yeah, Vlad Senior.
I think Vlad may have hid himself away, eating on any cattle or dead rats or something like that. That's how I see
He only
it.
killed out of necessary, and necessity where the other guys would have killed out of hunger lust. Is that a good word for it?
That's probably the best word.
So maybe Alex and Vlad's dad might have done all the killings and killed all the monks. They didn't turn them.
Yeah. True.
Interesting.
So, anyway, back to the present. Teresa is about to leave on the next train, and eventually Vlad appears and Teresa tells him that she realized the truth now and knows the terror that they cannot be together.
Yes, and she's resigned the fact that he can't go with her.
Or
and
change.
she can't stay there, and he can't change, blah, blah. And she ask him, will I ever see you again? He said, no.
Yeah. Anyway, she gets on the train, and while he's on the platform, Alec appears, and he tries to kill dear Vlad.
Yeah, he trying to beat the snot out of him.
Blood and all that stuff.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Treating him.
I mean, you'd think, honestly, Vlad would have been stronger, but maybe he was run down for not eating.
Maybe that could be it.
Yeah.
So he was thrown through a window,
And different things, and
Teresa was watching this, and she tries to head back and tries to help him, but it's too late. The train's moving at a fast pace. And
now here's the tricky bit.
then she heads back to her compartment, really, worn out, and eventually gets
shocked.
and then she gets a rap tap on her cabin door.
From the conductor.
Yeah, and he says, "Tickets, please," and she looks up and sees Alec there, and he says, "You have a ticket to hell," sort of thing. And the last thing,
not like that.
and the last scene we see is the train heading through a tunnel, and famous bright lights on.
And then all of a sudden they appear in
and
a
she screams,
really
and echoes.
inhospitable landscape somewhere.
Yeah, in a sort of a between living and dead type place.
Yeah, like a purgatory, limbo sort of.
Or hell or something.
Didn't look quite like hell would. You know that's one. What's that one? Where the guy had a computer on his arm and he had to challenge the guy.
You mean
And he challenged the devil or the demon.
I'm gonna have to go back and rethink that one.
And yeah, Excalibur.
Yeah, I know. I know which movie you're referring to.
But they went to a place like hell.
I know. I just don't remember the movie at the moment. But I'll try.
Something of a dungeon master or something. Or
I can't remember.
I think it was a dungeon master or something.
Or something.
Yeah, but
anyway,
they had a good hell.
Yes.
Yeah,
so anyway, back to this one. So Alex is like, "Oh, this is a place of dimensions, all that stuff," and he says, "Teresa, you're not listening." What stuff in that?
Yeah.
And he wants her to become a vampire and be with him and all that stuff.
Well, Alex wasn't worried about Vlad too much now.
Yeah.
He wanted her for himself.
Yeah. At this point, he's decided to take what he wants. In the horriblest ways.
Yes, naughty.
Just then, Vlad appears wearing a bit like a clothing that resembles like if you were looking at Jesus' clothing when you think about it.
He had a wardrobe change here.
Alec in this scene, he's wearing a black outfit with a black cloak, while Vlad is wearing sort of an outfit that looks like something out of Jesus would probably wear. Sort of symbolizing
like
the good side to him.
Good versus evil, even in vampires.
Yeah, and of course.
And Alex says, "Oh, I'm going to beat you up and do whatever." Yeah.
Yeah,
and he didn't realise how strong Vlad really was.
Yeah, and Alec asked Teresa again to choose immortality and choose him and all that stuff, but dear old Teresa says, "I want Vlad," and of course Alex says, "You will not have him." And of course they fight. Eventually, Vlad wins.
And kills poor old Alex.
Yay! Eventually, Vlad approaches Teresa. They have a nice romantic moment. Although this will be the last time they'll see each other ever.
Supposedly.
And he tells her about how men are like beasts and all that stuff, and how soon enough she will probably eventually not have any more of these nightmares again.
Yes.
Eventually, in this world, the sun rises in this world, and he slowly decays and burns away.
No, it wasn't a bad special effect. I thought
I
it was
agree.
quite good. Yeah.
And then we watch his body decay and rot, and we see a bit of a brief puppeteer doing the skeleton.
Yeah, the
look.
last bit of it.
Yeah. And then the credits start to roll, and that horrible music appears again.
But yeah, but I like to think if she had become a vampire accidentally,
Yes.
would Vlad come back in 200 or 300 or 400 years for her? You never know. But I don't think she got bitten by anybody.
No,
I don't think Alex had his way with her. So.
No.
But anyway, irritating. Closing credits, and then crappy music came back in again. Yeah.
Yeah, I know we're not supposed to troll this movie.
No, we're not actually trolling it. Just we think the musical score for the opening and closing credits was inappropriate for the movie. That's all. It wasn't the right music. It took away from the movie.
Yeah, if it was like
Yeah.
dark music, like the rest of the
Yeah.
middle bits of the music had a bit of
Yeah.
a mixture of
Ambiance or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
atmosphere
Yeah.
and feeling to it, the right type of feeling.
Yeah, mate. I would have been very happy to have anything else.
Yeah.
No. Okay, maybe not Donnie and Marie. I mean, you got to get the right music for the right movie, and I don't think it's the right music.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Yeah, and that's being troll. That's just being factual. Yeah.
yeah, I think Roger Corman should have not looked, should have realized that music was not right.
Yeah.
I mean,
everything else in the movie was good.
you have to have a good ear for music.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's really hard, I suppose, if the producer director type guys aren't really that much into music and they rely on a musical director or someone to supply the music for it, and they say, "Oh, that works." Well, yeah, maybe that's where the problem was. I don't know how Roger Corman was when it came to music, because when he did the old Vincent Price ones and the Edgar Allan Poe ones, they used a lot of classical type music. And that sort of thing, that sort of feel, and orchestral sort of stuff. But this is a bit different. It went a bit modern. It just didn't fit. Anyway, irrespective.
Yes.
No, I like the movie anyway. But the part I like is they went to Bulgaria to make the movie,
True.
and they had this nice local feel to it, and it's really good if you had the budget to go and do something like that. I mean, it's really hard for people on a very low budget, the independent guys and whatever, say, I'm going to take all our guys over to Africa and do a movie. Well, it ain't going to happen.
Yes.
Yeah.
So anyway, moving on to this. So this movie was, I often thought it was pretty incredible, especially the acting and the cast they picked.
I mean, it worked. To me, it worked. I mean, Christopher Atkins, he looks good. And he had that I think he had that European look about him.
Agreed.
And his mannerisms worked good for the movie, and the way he spoke, the way, a cultured European person would talk, and he had that down reasonably good. So he sort of brought the sense of reality to it.
I almost wish this movie wasn't under the radar. It sounds,
I think it got lost.
yeah.
Unfortunately, I mean, it does happen to a lot of good movies when too many other things come out around it. It gets pushed aside, and something else, another A movie comes along and just pushes it, and then they throw yesterday's garbage on top of it, and no one sees it again, or very rarely.
Yeah.
But this is one of those, I'll say, a lost classic almost.
Agreed.
But actually, before I go too much, before I forget, if you're looking for a copy of this movie, you can get it on Amazon and you can get it on eBay. We had a look, and I only do this as a last resort. I couldn't find it as a torrent anywhere. So, and I only advocate torrent searches if you can't buy it anywhere. So, as with any of the movies we review, and you're looking for a copy, go to a shop, go online, eBay, Amazon, whatever, and try to buy a copy. If you can't, okay then. If you can't, YouTube, torrent, whatever, be your last resort, not your first option. Because, I mean, especially the old movies, they're hard to get sometimes. If we said, hey, let us do Metropolis, and no one's got a good copy of Metropolis hanging around, sure, go online and download a copy of Metropolis, or go do a torrent download, because it's a good movie.
Yeah, I do like the I do like the flashbacks, and I like the I love the scenes between Vlad and Teresa. You know,
I think there's a bit of chemistry going there. Yeah,
I certainly like the love scenes a little bit. Not being disgusting or anything like that. I just mean like
it was a touching love scene.
Yeah.
Not a raunchy love scene.
Yeah, not like the 80s where they just try to bring out the boobs, the bums, and the tits.
I'm going to ride the baloney pony and that sort of stuff. No, it just, no, this was a touching love scene. As lovers were becoming together. And it worked for the movie.
Yeah, just like those romance novels that are tasteless. I mean, tasteful.
The ones who are done tastefully. Yeah, I'm not a prude. I'm not against sex in movies, as long as it works for movie and it's done tastefully. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is like a forbidden romance, just like Romeo and Juliet was a forbidden romance.
Romeo and Juliet. Now, if you did Romeo and Juliet today, they'd probably bung in a bedroom scene instead of a balcony scene. But what's the difference? I mean, if they were having a love affair and it was and they were coming together, of course they'd have a bedroom scene, but as long as it's done tastefully.
Yeah, or
It doesn't have to be raunchy,
or as another example, Rapunzel. I know this is a fairy tale thing, but a lot of people often think that the prince who asks
Climbed up a hair.
Yeah, climbed her hair
and had a bit of had a game of hide the sausage and went down again or something.
Yeah, I mean, and then much later when the witch vanishes her to gosh knows where in the desert, we find out later she's has two of his kitties.
No, they must have got up to something,
again,
folks.
guys, I'm not gonna blacklist the fairy tales because in these days a lot of people keep having parenting groups keep on questioning this and that about it.
There's a lot of protest groups out there saying things like, what was it? Snow White was laying there in state, and the prince comes over and kisses her.
Yeah.
It's like a love's first kiss, a farewell kiss, and some protest group saying, "Oh, that was unwarranted. He's sexually molesting some girl who's in a coma." Oh, grow up.
Yeah, bear in mind he didn't know she was alive.
If he thought she was dying or dead, he's lying in state, and he gave her a kiss out of respect.
Yeah,
And love.
exactly.
He fell in love with her even though she was dead, and he gave her a kiss to say, "I love you, goodbye." He didn't say, "Oh, I'll jump in the coffin and do a bit of hot sausage on a dead body." No. So what wasn't Sleeping Beauty and the prince come along there and give her a peck?
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing. She was in a coma for 20 years or something, rather.
Yeah.
She must have been an old wrinkly old thing by then, eh?
Yeah, I mean, it's not disrespectful.
People just take it too far.
Yeah, they just read too much into it, is what I think.
If people can protest against something, they will. They'll find that there are
a few nuts out there.
There's a minority group in this world who will protest about anything they can because they can.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
Have they experienced firsthand of any harm this sort of storytelling has done? Ever?
No, it's there.
I mean, they've probably watched it, read the books, watched the movies, and
or they didn't. Maybe their parents are weird and say, "Oh, that's naughty. That's not very nice," and they told them they weren't very nice, and they're programmed into disrespect everything they don't agree with, and some protest about this, protest about that, blah blah. We don't like that move because that's so and so.
It's just maybe, or maybe they never realized how.
Yeah.
Inappropriate is when you're an adult. I mean, years ago you would not question the cultures that they used in cartoons, but nowadays they try to blacklist movies that dived in with different cultures and in the storylines, stuff like that.
I'm going to take a totally different tangent about get off movies for a minute. Take Santa Claus.
Okay.
We celebrate Christmas every year.
Right.
In most countries of the world.
Yes.
Not all, because
maybe not.
Communist countries may not, but most countries of the world celebrate Christmas.
Yeah.
So a lot of Christian-based countries celebrate Christmas religiously, pardon the pun. Mm-hmm. And I know this in some countries, and in America, and even here, they're referring to it as holiday season, not Christmas. They're saying, we don't want to use the word Christmas because it might affect the people who aren't Christians. Well, if the non-freaking Christians don't have the Christmas bloody holiday season, go to work. Father Christmas himself, Santa Claus. People say, "Oh, the jolly old guy," and then turn around and say, some people make gaze a sleaze bag. He's no much better than someone breaking into your house at night. Get a grip.
Yeah.
Touch of reality. Here, come on.
Yeah. Remember, we were all kids once.
Yeah, and this fantasy world, and the fantasy world of the golden books and the kiddies' little stories, the Hans Christian Andersens, and the fictional movies and the fantasy movies, Dr. Seuss. It's all fantasy, and it's done in good fun and reasonably good taste. So why knock it?
Exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean...
How do we get on this topic?
I don't know. It's just that it does come up.
People knock things all the time for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't like that. I mean, there's some stuff that's just total crap. And if it's real total crap, I don't go around knocking it. I just don't watch it or read it or look at it. I let other people make their mind up. You know? So, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, and if I did find some, well, I do hope to one day have my niece and nephew embrace fairy tales, stories like that one day.
Encourage them. The Three Little Pigs. How what? They all homosexual pigs because the three guys living together? Well, you know, they could take
Actually,
that. No,
they were related to each other.
So what? Yeah, but some group could turn around and say there must be homosexual three guys living together. What's one? Females. The same sort of thing. Females. I mean, the witches in Macbeth. The three witches around the cauldron. Were those three witches around the cauldron going bubble, bubble, toilet, trouble? Were they lesbians? Now, where do you draw the line?
Yeah, exactly. It does seem annoying that people dredge up so much of this stuff and never think that maybe they're just a group of friends hanging out together.
Exactly.
I mean, look at Bert and Ernie from Sesame Street.
Oh, no, don't go there. Some people think, Ernie's a child and Bert's a bit older, and he's taking advantage of little Ernie.
I always think of them as brothers when I was little. You know? I always thought of them as brothers.
Well, no, they're friends.
Yeah, brothers or friends.
But look at Big Bird. Everyone say, "Oh, Big Bird's gay." He's not gay, you know.
He has a best friend. Give me a break, guys.
He's got Snuffleupagus, who no one believes he exists.
Well, actually, he does exist now.
He does now. Yeah, even they thought he didn't exist. He's a fictional friend, But
again, guys, this is...
Get over it, guys,
Yeah, I just wish people just...
Enjoy
their childhood friends and just move on and just think of it as just a good memory.
I mean, you know, Goldilocks the Three Bears can become a crime novel because this girl broke into these people's house and stole food. It's not a fairy tale anymore, it becomes a crime novel. You know? So...
Although I do like it when some cartoons do use the story, and I remember one time Garfield...
Garfield cat.
Yeah, he did his own version of it, and he made Goldilocks... what's his name? Oh, Odilocks.
Odilocks,
And while you may think that's like cross-dressing, but it's I don't think that's taste. I think that it's still used a lot, this idea of...
You mentioned cross-dressing. How many times did Bugs Bunny dress up as a female?
True.
How many times did Elmer Fudd dress up as a female? And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, you know?
Yeah, and again, guys, this is just... I'm just throwing this out there that it's just comedy.
Yeah, it's fun.
It's funny. It may be a bit, you know... may make you laugh because you know
you can see the funny side of it. Don't get serious, you know.
Yeah, take away the seriousness, and you may enjoy it.
I mean, when I was a kid, a long time ago now, we had a group we hung out with, big group, and we decided to have a change of sex night. Now, I'm not meaning that in a nasty way, but all the guys came dressed as girls, and all the girls came dressed as guys, just for the fun of it. And it was funny how some of the guys looked really good. I don't know who did the makeup, and you start to wonder whether they were cross-dressers. But some of the guys looked pretty good. But it was fun. No one said, "Oh, you guys are all cross-dressers and weirdos." No, we had fun.
That sounds like fun.
It was fun. But there's too many control freaks trying to tell us what's right and what's wrong all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, guys. I mean, if it doesn't hurt anybody and it's good fun, stop protesting. Yeah? And stop saying it's a bad movie because I don't like that or it's a good movie. You just can't keep doing that because they get to the stage where we might as well turn off the television, stop YouTubing, stop everything else, no movie houses, go there, go into a cave and wear sackcloth, put ash on your bloody head because no one's going to be doing anything.
Exactly.
How's that grab you, folks?
I mean, the latest movies that bring out a little bit of this and that, who in reality are trying to make it look more real, to be honest with you guys.
And they're trying to bring reality in the movies. Put real people and real circumstances in the movie. And I keep saying, Sarah, because Sarah's a movie maker, if you're making a movie, writing a script, even if it's fantasy or a fiction, it has to have reality in it. It's got to come from a real place. You have to depict real people. the more reality you bring into a horror movie, even if it's totally fiction, it makes it creepier.
Exactly.
And that's what makes the magic happen. Because shit, I can identify. I've been to a place like that.
Mike, don't swear. You don't know who's on here.
Eh?
You swore.
Oh, whatever. Sorry. I didn't mean it. Take it back. You can beat me out later. But the point is that if you got this sense of reality sneaking in, you say, "Hey, I've been to a place. I've been to a museum like that, or I've been to an old ruin in Egypt. I've been somewhere else, and I've been walking around there, and I can imagine somebody jumping out behind a closed door or something or other, and it brings reality into it, and that's really good."
Agreed.
Yeah.
Just like when we were reviewing Spree the other day, where it showed, for one the passengers was a bit of a white supremacist type person.
Yeah, it's really a supremacist. Yeah.
And this is just saying that I'm just putting it out there that there are people out there who have different views on who's right and who's wrong.
Exactly right.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, it's fine. And actually, the bad guy in the movie said, "Well, it's wrong. All people should be equal." Isn't that nice?
Exactly so.
So the point is, they raised it and actually counted it, which is good. Mm-hmm. And there are people out there like that. So yeah, it was real.
Yeah, and in that movie, I said that there was some people who are online who often say nasty things and try to count and put it off as entertainment.
Yeah, it's.
I don't like it when they do that, especially in podcasts. Some podcasts.
I mean, I'm going to say something here. There's a lot going on about freedom of speech, different things, and platforms and whatever.
Yeah.
And people say, "Oh, we should have freedom of speech," but there should be a bottom line somewhere. How free? If you inciting terrorism, if you're a Islamic person from the Middle East online trying to get people to join your group worldwide and get donations, I think really if they're going to that stage, technically waging a war against the world, surely someone should be able to just close down their websites and their Facebook pages and their Twitter accounts because it's not working in the public interest. It's working for them, and it's actually it could be deemed to be illegal in many countries. But people let them go, and that's why people get into trouble with these sort of groups.
I agree. I'm drifting away again. Sorry. So let's rate this movie.
I'm going to give it 9.5, and I'm losing a half, of course, to the musical score.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 9.5 too for the musical score too.
Yeah.
Because if the music improved on the opening and the end credit, maybe it would have made a little bit more better.
But remember, guys, it's a horror romance. It's not an action horror.
Yeah.
So anyone who's looking for a high speed, wham bam, and thank you, ma'am, action, no, you're not going to fight in this movie. But if you're looking for a good, interesting drama, horror, romance, it's not a bad movie.
Yeah. I often think whenever we do listen to the opening, I always turn the music down.
He turns the volume down.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It's just that it just doesn't do it for me.
It doesn't create the atmosphere. Yeah, it's a sad, but it's the way it goes.
If it was a more darker, stuff, I could probably relate to it.
Yeah,
but we can't. But we can't do anything about it.
Again, excuse me.
But we can't do anything about it, so we have to live with it.
Well, that's it. Or die with it.
But again, I'm not depriving you guys to not watch it. Just go and see it and be sure to let us know what you guys think of it.
Actually, you might be able to download it to as a rental too on Prime, Amazon Prime.
That's cool.
So for $1 or something. So have a look. It's gonna be good. Yeah.
Yeah, you'll be surprised, guys. If you're unhappy with the opening, just do what I do.
You turn it down. Yeah, or go to the toilet, go to the fridge, whatever, and then come back after the credits.
Yeah, exactly so. So anyway, that's about it for us tonight.
Yeah, I've had a good one. I like this one. I mean, we couldn't find a lot on the internet, and it's a shame because
it's such a good plot.
If anyone's looking for the movie, you find IMDb, and there's no Wikipedia, and some of the other review sites don't have a lot of information on it. So it's hard to find a good old movie.
It's like trying to find information from a stone, but
you
don't have anything inside it.
Exactly right. Anyway, Anyway, that's it for me. I can't think of anything else I want to say.
So that's about it for tonight. So this is Sarah Stephenson
And Michael?
saying we'll see you guys for the next one.
Okay. See you
Bye.
guys. Bye.